Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tim Walsh coming to you live. Now we're in Centralia, Illinois, about 75 miles east of St. Louis in the Missouri border. So this is our last BOF site that we're going to visit over the next 2 days. And obviously we're going to talk about our partner, the State Fire Marshal. And we wanted to show you the trailer behind us. And the reason we want you to show the trailer is these are similar to a roll-off dumpster, and we pack them full of equipment, forcible entry doors, hand tools, and hose that we use all over the state, so that we can deliver this program and not have an impact on the local fire department. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll come back and talk to our lead out here, Chief Chris Tell. So let's go inside for a minute. Now you can see all the equipment in here. It's very similar to every other can that we highlighted over the week. It has an FDC connection, gas meters, hose clamps, exhaust fans, hose, hand tools. Our partners at Scott and our partners at Key Hose down in Florida take good care of us. Our partners at Steel Fire Equipment for saws and extinguishers. Everything that a firefighter would use on his or her first day is carried in this can, and most of it is out on the grounds being utilized right now. Milwaukee tools, DeWalt tools, all kinds of other stuff. So before I bring Chief Tell in, let's talk about the two guys that make this happen that we weren't able to interview this weekend. Mark Clapp and Program Manager Bryn O'Neill. Bryn handles everything that has to do with the program, from the paperwork and the skill sessions to the hands-on delivery that happens 6 times over a 5-month period, twice a year. And then Mark's job is to drive the state every weekend like we just did and hit every site to make sure that they have the proper tools and equipment to get all this training done. So let's bring in Chief Tell. Chief, thanks for having us. We appreciate you having us here.
Thank you.
Hey, how many students do you have here, and who's the chief of the Centralia Fire Department first?
Chief Ross Brashear is fire chief for Centralia Rural Fire Protection District, and we have 26 active cadets, or candidates, I apologize, from 15 different departments in this area.
Okay, that's awesome. So we were talking about some of the other numbers earlier in the weekend before you guys got tired of listening to me. We've put 500 students across the state of Illinois through this training in conjunction with the State Fire Marshal's Office for free, correct? And we talked about the hours that these volunteers and young kids put in, either to become a full-time paid professional or just to serve their community. And not all of them are young. They're people that are married, fathers, wives, husbands that take time away from their family to make sure that they can support their community. So let's take a walk over to one of the drills that they're doing now. There's 5 drills going on this week. And in a few minutes, I'm going to have Chief Tell talk about their performance evaluation checklist, or PECs, which is what we're getting done now. So Chief, let's take a walk over here. So you can see the fellows out on the veranda upstairs and what they did here. And Chief, why don't you tell them, what is this building and what was the drill that they were working on here?
So in this taxpayer, the drill that these candidates are working on now is basically our down firefighter without a functioning SCBA. So similar as a firefighter that happens to be in a Mayday situation, this firefighter is located. He is assessed, he is dressed out interior and then brought outside. So using our RIT pack, obviously without having a functioning SCBA, with getting that firefighter.
So they actually put him on the RIT pack?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great basic skills to get done right away. And this 2-story building, I was just talking to one of the other instructors here. This used to be a functioning taxpayer, but it happens to be on fire department property now.
Correct.
And they can get training done in here. We don't burn in here, but we use theater smoke, which replicates kind of what you see on the fire ground, creates no visibility, and allows them to get used to working in the dark, correct?
Correct.
That's great. Hey, fellas, the guys over here are working on their ropes and knots when they have some downtime. The Centralia site runs pretty tight here. There's no messing around. If you're standing around, you should be tying knots. I heard the roll call this afternoon before the guys and girls came back out, so they're getting that done. Let's take a walk over now. Chief will walk over by car fires and see what they're working on over there. So if we have any more questions, this is going to be the last broadcast of the day. You can see the car fire is going pretty good over there. This is none other than the performance evaluation checklist, things that need to get done. And this morning when we were operating, and yesterday when we were operating, that was probably like the first car fire that some of these students went to. And now they're actually going to be checked off to make sure that they're attacking that car fire correctly. So Chief, tell me, give me kind of a broad overview on how we go from day one when they're doing online training to the weekends to the performance evaluation checklist. How does that work?
So with online, basically they meet on Mondays and Tuesday nights, and they do their online training that they have their instructors kind of brief them on what's going to be coming up for the chapter of that week. Then we start with our drills. We always drill with our candidates before putting them through a PEC to make sure that they do have the knowledge and the skill set to correctly finish those JPRs.
That's great. So repetition is the mother of learning here at the Illinois Fire Service
Absolutely.
Institute, right? See one, do one, get tested on one.
Absolutely.
So they're probably getting how many skill rotations before they actually get tested? Maybe a half a dozen sometimes?
At least.
At least a half a dozen times before they get checked off on
Correct.
it. And nothing's pencil whipped. All this material goes back to IFSI headquarters in Champaign on the campus of the university, and our curriculum department checks it, makes sure it's correct, make sure each performance evaluation checklist is filled out and signed by a senior instructor like yourself, and then they can apply for certification and take the state exam to make sure that we have properly trained people all over the state of Illinois to respond to your emergency.
Absolutely.
So you can see the guys are putting the car fire out here. We're going to step out of the way for a minute, boss, and then we're going to go over to extinguishers and take a look at what they're doing there. So some of you might be asking, because I can already feel my hair standing up on the back of my head, hey, why aren't those guys putting the whole fire out? Well, if we put the whole fire out and we wet the car down completely, we would be unable to get other rotations in and other students in. And we're checking multiple things here, Chief, right? We're checking their ability to put on an SCBA, to
Correct.
move a charged hose line. What are some of the other things we're checking off in this station?
Other than, as we're approaching a vehicle fire, making sure that we're approaching that vehicle, identifying that type of vehicle, whether it's an electric vehicle, if it's compressed natural gas, as well as approaching from a safe position. Basically putting ourselves in between the vehicle that's on fire and covering any exposures.
Great, that's great stuff. And I can see that they're approaching from angles, keeping in mind pneumatic bumpers and pneumatic struts inside the car.
Absolutely.
All the stuff that hurts firefighters on the street right now. Let's take a walk over here and kind of see what we're doing with fire extinguishers. So you can see the instructor right here with his clipboard out. He's got a performance evaluation checklist, and they're going to allow this firefighter to put out this small little fire with a fire extinguisher. And you might be thinking, hey, why are you guys doing this? Well, this is part of the curriculum as defined by NFPA that firefighters should be able to operate a dry chemical fire extinguisher. And if you've never done it before,
Correct.
you don't want your first time to be on the street in
Correct.
someone's home or someone's business. That's why we set fires, both car and training fires, to get that done. We're going to walk around to the back side of the Centralia grounds here. They have quite a facility. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 props that I can see just offhand. This is my first time here. And the guys are working on forcing a door, an inward swinging door. So off the top of your head, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, boss. On that checklist, and I can see the instructor kind of doing it, what are some of the things that they're looking for?
They're looking for identifying which type of door that they are going to be forcing. Is it an inward swinging door? Is it an outward swinging door? Looking to see possibly where the hinges are located at, any other obstacles that they may encounter with trying to force a door. We start to see more and more commercial doors reinforced. things change over the years of how people, technology with magnetics, locks, other types of deterrents to prevent anybody from breaking into commercial buildings.
So where are we at in the program? What week are we in, and how many more weeks do we have to go?
We are in weekend 9.
Okay.
But we are on weekend number 5 with our practical weekends.
So when do they finish up? When do these kids finish up?
We're halfway through right now.
We're halfway through. Okay, so here's what I want you to think about. We're training 150 firefighters at 4 different locations across the state of Illinois. Now, I used to work for the Chicago Fire Department, and the most people we ever had in the academy was 100 or 150. And I can remember the instructors there going through all the things that needed to be laid out and all the performance evaluations that needed to get checked off before people graduated. But that was one site. So the logistics of getting equipment here and making sure we have enough stuff to get the practicals done every weekend, and then taking care of the book work online, meeting with the students in the evenings, answering their questions, it's a huge undertaking. And we appreciate the State Fire Marshal's Office for supporting that effort. We're going to let you watch this for about 30 more seconds so you can see they're working on knots. Hey guys, what knots do you have to tie before you graduate? Figure 8? Figure 8 on a bite? Figure 8 follow through? Water knot? And a handcuff knot. Very good. How you guys doing on them? You pretty good? Think you could pass the test right now? Okay, that's a good attitude. Would love it. So this is Tim Walsh and Chief Chris Tell from Swansea signing off from our last stop here on the BOF World Tour 2022 weekend. And we appreciate you watching us. Share this in your community. Absolutely. And let people know what people are doing on their own time off, away from their jobs and their families, to protect you. So we'll be delivering some classes down at FDIC this year again, hot, and some lectures. Come see us there. And then Fire College will have some great announcements in the next 2 weeks about some free tuition, free scholarships, free room and board, and some great get-togethers in the evening from Chief Bobby Hoff with some free training. So thanks for joining us all weekend. We look forward to speaking to you again. This is Tim Walsh signing off for the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Have a great weekend.